Hey, Zuzana, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for coming on.
Hi, James. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited for this conversation. We had a previous call, and you've got some really interesting stories and like the whole backstory. So like, what sparked your vision? Because you're doing some really interesting stuff when it comes to ecom and growing your company, Just Love. What sparked the vision? Tell me about that.
All right, that's not an easy question for the beginning. I was a typical corporate woman, so I come from banking, and I think I was kind of successful there. Then I switched to another company, which was an e-commerce company, a Czech first unicorn in the Czech Republic. And actually, I got a question there regarding my happiness, which is something that you don't get too often from CEOs.
Mm.
And my boss, he asked me, "So, are you happy here with what you're doing?" And immediately I wanted to answer, "Of course, I'm happy. Everything's okay, and I'll do whatever you say," because I've been saying that for the past like 15 years. But then I thought for a second, and for the first time after a long time, I decided to tell the truth. And the truth was, no, I'm not really happy. I'm not like 100% happy. I'm just like 82%, 0.5% happy. So that's how it started. And then he asked me, okay, so what do you want to do? And I said, well, I always wanted to set up a company. And he said, why don't you go and do it? And so I went. So that was the moment because the idea was there, I think my whole life. But this simple question about my happiness actually started the whole journey.
Mm, amazing, amazing. It sounds courageous to step into that authenticity of telling the truth. And it sounds like it sounds like it paid off. It sounds like everything kind of aligned and fell into place, and opportunities arose from that point. So really interesting.
It sounds courageous and maybe also a little bit stupid because I would not I would not recommend anyone to like cut everything off like I did
Mm.
because I was like, okay, so this is my vision and I'm gonna do become an entrepreneur and set up my company. So yeah, goodbye. I don't need any more time with this company. Thank you very much. No more money. And yeah, so I cut all the money coming to me and I
Mm.
started to give money out because when you start your business, you have to invest a lot. So it was pretty tough at the beginning. When I'm looking back, I would probably do the same stupid thing all over again, but it it might not be the right path for everyone. Maybe sometimes it's good to have some stability while you start a business because business means a lot of instability. So
Mm.
yeah, everyone has a different path.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I'm sure it was a bumpy ride to get going. Tell me about you mentioned about your sourcing trip to Mongolia, and that kind of thing. Like, tell me about the journey when you got started and you were trying to make things happen.
Mm. So I wanted to set up a fashion company based on sustainable principles. I think I have two kids, two small kids, and they completely changed my values. So suddenly I started to think about what I wear, what I eat, and who makes the clothes and stuff like that. So a lot of questions, and I thought, okay, so I'll set up a company here in the Czech Republic. I'll set up a local production because that's sustainable. I'll give job to local people. But it was not that easy because I couldn't really find the technologies. At that moment, you really realize how the world is divided, that the production is not in Europe anymore for most of the things. So either you can start your production in China, or which is a good idea for many entrepreneurs, or you can look more in Europe, and that's what I did. So I went to Portugal. Well, I did some research, and then Portugal seemed to be the right place, and I started production there. But it was COVID, so not the best time to start whatever business you have. So basically, everything got shut down throughout the world, which had a big impact on Portugal and the production there. So all the companies like Zara and H&M, they were ahead of me, and I was the last person in the line waiting for my products to be produced. So basically, after 6 months, I had no money because everything I put into the production, and I had no product, which did not correspond with my Excel table. The Excel table was excellent, but the reality did not check up with that table. So I did spend all of my money, but then the revenues didn't start to go up because there were no revenues. So I remember I was like sitting in the kitchen at home, um, sitting on the floor crying because I didn't know what to do. And I thought maybe this is the end of my story. And maybe I will have to do the hard thing to admit that I am not good at this. So I was really thinking about these options to give up and admit. And then I thought, okay, maybe I'll try one more thing. And I had Cashmere in my head for like a second collection, but I didn't know anything about it. So I had to Google Kashmir, and I realized it's not a sheep. It comes from a goat, and the goat lives in Mongolia. Yeah, I mean, I had just like one Kashmir sweater at home, and what kind of animal is behind that, I don't really know. So I Googled everything. Thank God for Google, and then I bought a ticket to Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia for basically the last money that I had. And I told my husband and my mom, okay, I have to go to Mongolia. And they really thought, okay, she really went crazy now. So, um, but I had this intuition that I have to do it. And also my values, they kind of led me to transparency. So for me, it was like, I really need to go to the very beginning of the supply chain. And that was the Kashmir goat. So I had this goal to meet the Kashmir goat. And this is actually what happened. So I went to Mongolia, and there was this moment when I was in the middle of nowhere. There was this yurta, which is like the tent in which the herders really, really live. A couple of horses around, and then this like big Mongolian herder who was showing me around. And then he came with like a little goat and in his arms. She was like 2 weeks old, and he was like approaching me, and he's like, "Do you want to hug it?" And I'm like, I don't really know how to hug a goat. Are you kidding me? Because you have like these like legs, right? It's not like hugging a kitten. It's just this goat, right? So I'm like, I accepted the goat. And then was this moment of like epiphany, because I was holding this animal. She was like warm, and I could really, I'm not kidding, I could hear her heart beating because she was nervous, because I was nervous. But at that moment, I thought, okay, so I found her. This is her. This is why I came here, and this is going to be okay. So I think that was the crucial moment for Just Love, when I knew this is going to work, and I'm just going to do everything that I can to make it work because of this little goat that I did not know that you could hug.
Wow. I love that. That's amazing. What a story.
You want to hug a goat too now, right?
I'm right there with you. Yeah, I was right there with you. Like, imagining that all the steps that you went through, and right to the hugging the goat, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, really interesting. You mentioned, like the intuition. So you kind of felt this intuitive calling to eventually hug a goat, right? So yeah,
no, but
amazing.
It is right. I think it's a borderline craziness. I think if when you have a vision, you cannot really tell what it is or why is it happening. But when I look back, it was very pragmatic step, like to go see the production, like from the goat to the like how they make the yarn, how they knit the sweaters. So that taught me a lot. Of course, the goat is something to remember, but it led me to all the practical steps that need to be done. So I believe intuition is really based on your previous knowledge and experience. So it's actually a pragmatic thing in the end.
Yeah. No, really, really fascinating. And obviously, this is like first time being an entrepreneur out there on your own, having to make it happen. And it sounds like, you face serious amounts of pressure and like time running out, runway running out when you first started, and literally spent your last money on a ticket to Mongolia to figure this out. It was like the last hurrah. And then it all sort of fell into place, and you're following this intuition. Like, what did you have this before, or is this like a shift? You just kind of shifted into this mindset of, this is what I've got to do to make it happen. Like, tell me a little bit about, the mindset shift, the identity shift. Like, what happened there?
I think my mind shifts every day like 150 times. So no major shift. No, I think I've always been someone who wants to make things happen. But for a long time, I was living in the corporate environment, which is very different. So you have like a lot of boundaries that you have to move within. So I think I was using this intuition, or like I have to do this or that, but in a very limited space. But the question about happiness, I think, changed and turned my mindset like crucially. And since then, I have to use my intuition in like a much broader way. But the core that I need to have things done, I think that's like that one has been part of my personality from the very start. Entrepreneurship taught me that every day is different. There is a new set of problems. So working with my mind and controlling my mind is actually a very important part of my job. So maybe we'll touch that in your next questions. I don't want to go ahead of ourselves.
No, but for sure. Like, so after that moment, in Mongolia, where everything just started to, I don't know, click into place, make sense for you. Like, this is definitely my path. Like, tell me about the, what happened then. What were the next steps there, and some of the lessons you learned in that learning curve from there.
Yeah, so I knew this is my path, and I know this every day. Even though there are hard moments, I know that I cannot go back to where I was before. Corporate environment gave me a lot, but it's not my thing. And so when I came back, I set up my e-shop, my store, and I started selling right before Christmas, so like in October, November. Which was excellent timing. So I thought I was a genius. So the revenues went up, everything was perfect. So like November, December, I was a genius in my mind. But then it started to change because there was this weather changing, right? And so the revenues.
Because Q4 is the boom, like Christmas time, everybody's out there spending, buying stuff online. So it's the boom, and you just kind of caught that wave. And then,
Yeah. So my product, well, Just Love is a producer, and we sell cashmere garments. So cashmere and winter goes well together. So the timing was good, and the product was good. And also, Czech Republic is a small market, so there is no other local brand concentrating on cashmere, only some big brands. So I really hit like a niche market. So that was good. But of course, then the season changes, the weather changes, and the sales went down. So every single month, the sales were lower and lower. And I hit my button in like June or July, where there were basically no sales. And I finally realized that I have a seasonal product. Oh my God, what a thought. So yeah, I realized that, and I was panicking. So basically my mind was telling me, you will never ever sell any other sweater. Like, that was your last sweater in February, and that's it, right? You have a bad product. Like, yeah. So what I did was the worst thing that you can do, because we've been doing like PPC campaigns. So I thought I need to cut the costs. So I switched Mark Zuckerberg off. All the meta was off. And the sales went even lower, right? Because there was nothing, like no engine supporting the sales. So that was a big lesson. It put me back to reality that I might not be a genius. I mean, every season it repeats, I'm still a genius for some part of the year. And I had to start thinking about what to do with it, right? What to do with the summer season. And so big lesson. Then luckily the customers came back and we had a great season, the winter season again. But I had to start thinking about what am I going to do with the products for the summer season. And everything is so fast in e-commerce. So if you have a problem in July, you don't have enough time to come up with a new collection and make it that summer. So that means you have another chance only next year. So I had some time to prepare for the next season, and the next season was much better. And this is the third year. So this summer is going quite well, I have to say. So I'm really happy, but we had to do a lot of work, a lot of shifting, and a lot of I thought I'm a Cashmere brand. I will specialize only on Cashmere, but that's not possible. So we are a brand that specializes on natural fiber. So we have Cashmere, we have merino, and for summer we have cotton and we have linen.
Yeah, really interesting, and I feel you with that. The feedback loop of a seasonal e-com business. It is you don't have time to figure things out like in June, July for that summer. So you've got to think a year into the future about, okay, what can we learn from this time to make it better next time. But then it's sort of each season, if you can bring products that sell well in that season, you can kind of keep things going. And then it's like a yearly feedback loop. It's difficult. It's a challenge for sure.
It is, and you never know if you your decisions now, because you're gonna realize those decisions in 6 or 8 months if it's still gonna work, because the world is changing so quickly.
Yeah.
So difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're differentiated by you first thought Cashmere, specializing and sort of positioning yourself against the sort of traditional luxury, the bigger names in Cashmere, and then you've pivoted into the fiber, like the differentiation. Just tell me why that's different and how it's positioned against other potential competitors or bigger brands.
So the differentiation, when you ask me this, I remember the beginnings when people asked me, so why should we buy your products? Why are you different? And I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about the entrepreneurial journey, because as an entrepreneur, you don't really know at the beginning what you're doing, or I did not know it, right? So I couldn't really answer the basic questions. I was like, yeah, because my product is really good, and I'm trying really hard, and they're like, yeah, that's not the reason why anyone would buy it. So it took me some time to realize that, and I have actually two answers why we're different. So we are different because we offer really high quality cashmere in all our products. So we're consistent with the quality. I think for a customer in fashion, it's really difficult to know why this cashmere sweater is for 50 euros and why this one is for 500 euros. What's the difference? Is it just the brand? Is it the quality? So I think there's a lot of confusion on the cashmere fashion market. So with us, there is just one quality, and that's cashmere grade A. You have grade A, B, and C. It's actually really interesting. The quality grades, it depends on the hair of the goat, on the perimeter of the hair. And the grade A is 14 to 15.5 microns. And to have some comparison, human hair has 50 to 100 microns. So the goat hair is about 5 times, 7 times thinner than a human hair. So it's very fine, right? So the grade A is 14 to 15.5, and we have 15 to 15.5. That's our quality. So any product that you buy from us, you don't have to be worried about the quality. It's always the same. So that's the main differentiation. The second differentiation is that I think we have fair prices for the quality that we offer. And we are very transparent about the prices. So if you go to our website, you can see the structure of the cost of each product, because it's very easy for the customer to think, oh my God, like 300 euro sweater, she's earning a lot of money, right? But she is, but she also has to give back to state like the VAT. Then it's really expensive. The cashmere as a material is really expensive. So you can see like how much I spent on material, on the production, marketing, whatever. And I think not many brands are doing this. We can afford that because we're still a small brand, so we can be like closer to the customers. But yeah, that differentiates us from the big brands. So that's also our value proposition. So I'm giving you don't have to have a headache about if you bought a high quality sweater or not, and if you bought it for the right price. But what we're really selling are emotions. So that's what I learned. We're selling so that you feel good about yourself. We're selling the feeling of a woman sitting in an office with like 20 other people on a business meeting, and she feels good, confident, she feels comfortable, she knows that she's worth it, and she's looking forward to the coffee break because some of her colleagues will ask her, oh my God, what kind of sweater are you wearing? So this is what we're selling. And we're still able to communicate it to the customers because we're small. So we're in close relationship with the customer. So they know these things about us, and we're kind of a love brand for them.
Yeah. I love that. And makes so much sense. Yeah, coming to those realizations, just going through the journey, the lessons, and coming to those realizations is, it really is an entrepreneurial journey to figure that all out. Like you said, you don't really know what you're doing at the start, and you have to learn, you have to jump in with 2 feet, you have to make mistakes and not be afraid to make mistakes and learn from failures, because it's never really failure. They're just lessons that empower you moving forward. And that doesn't end, it's like we as entrepreneurs still don't know what we're doing in a lot of cases. Like there's just bigger problems to solve along the way, right? Yeah,
exactly. And I think that's a good point that you made about the mistakes. I think that is actually the biggest lesson and biggest difference for me, because in a corporate environment, you are afraid of mistakes. You're like terrified of mistakes, because if you make a mistake, that's going to be a problem for you, for your manager, for everyone, right? And with entrepreneurship at the beginning, when I made a mistake, I was like, oh my God, I'm so stupid. Like, why did I do this? Right. And I had to really learn to, like, at this moment, to really tell to myself, okay, you're learning. This is the learning part. And it's extremely difficult. And I still kind of think I'm stupid for a couple of seconds, but then I switch it. And I'm like, yeah, this is uncomfortable. This hurts. And no one wants to make mistakes. But it's actually good for me because I am moving forward. I will not make the same mistake again. And this mistake will lead me to the solution, which still might not be the solution, but maybe the next one will be the solution.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny. So I had another business owner on this podcast, and we were talking about this, and he was kind of saying he almost looks to make these. He just looks to make bigger and bigger mistakes, and he even puts like dollar values behind them. He's like, yeah, I've made $100 mistakes, $1,000 mistakes, $10,000 mistakes. Now I'm trying to make $100,000 mistakes, because it's just you're going to learn so much that value just comes back in return. So yeah, it's fun. It was funny how he kind of put that, but it's absolutely right.
So it should be the revenue actually in my Excel tables, the mistakes, right?
Yeah, I love how you're kind of relating to this back to your financial background, and it's all about the numbers. Which running a company like you do, it's critical to get the numbers right, because you're spending money, advertising going out the door, and you've got to make a return, and you've got to have those tight feedback loops. You've got all the costs and overheads in the product, and and development. So yeah, it is critical to have that understanding. And so you weren't starting with nothing. You were starting with a pretty important background skill in understanding finances to begin with.
Yeah, the Excel table was really important. I think it was the huge advantage, even though the original Excel table was like completely wrong, but that's how it always is.
Mm.
But I think because in the fashion business, you meet so many talented people, like really creative, and I admire all their visions and like how they can make beautiful things. I still don't really consider myself a designer. I feel like I just make very simple things which are easy to wear and easy to combine, so they're not kind of difficult to come up with. Uh, but when I see those creative people, they are usually lacking the numbers background, and it's
Mm.
just killing them because the margins are not too high in
Mm.
fashion. So for instance, this was also one of the like not mistakes, but the learning parts. I was looking for some new ways, new channels to sell. So you're looking at like third parties, some stores that you could put your sweaters to, and then I almost like agreed to a cooperation, and then I checked my numbers again, and basically the part of the margin that they're taking is like basically eating up all your margin.
Yeah.
And sometimes those creative people, they do not do the calculation. They just sell, and they don't really understand where is the money going to, or why am I working so hard.
Mm.
Stuff is selling, but there's like nothing going on with my cash, right?
Mm.
So I think it's really important to be able to like work with numbers by yourself, because you can never rely on anyone. Even if you have some kind of expert doing this, I really believe that you need to understand it as a founder.
Mm.
Not 100%, but you have to have an idea in order to be able to control someone else who's doing that for you.
Mm. Yeah. What are some of the most important metrics that you're kind of just keeping your eye on as you grow the business as the founder, as the owner of the business?
I think it kind of changes, but for me, and I mentioned it a couple of times, is the margin,
Mm-hmm.
which might be the kind of an element that's slowing me down at the moment, because as I said, the margins in fashion are not too high. I am in the premium segment, so the margin is higher, but then your target audience is smaller. It's like a really
Mm.
niche market, right? So there's only a certain amount of people that I can hit in the Czech Republic. So that's why I'm trying to go global, or at least European, which we're doing. We're selling on this Wolf and Badger. It's this like online fashion platform for sustainable brands. So we are getting customers from the US and UK and the rest of Europe. So that's good, but it's a long, long journey. And it is taking part of our margin off. So I'm always like thinking, okay, should I sacrifice a little bit of my margin in order to grow, or should I keep it like this? Because it's actually sometimes when I have like a good month, and we put a couple of like sales, and the turnover is like really big, and you're like, yeah, this is going pretty well. And then you check the profit, and
Mm.
you earn like $1,000 more,
Mm.
and it doesn't make any sense, right? So I'm really careful about margin. So I think that's number one for me. Then it's the turnover, because I think the growth, I need to grow. So that's important as well. And another important, I think it's the repeated customers, the loyalty
Mm.
of the customers, because I know that the acquisition of customers is expensive.
Mm.
Once you get them, then you should really think of what you're going to do with them. And
Mm.
when you're lucky enough to have a repeated customer, you know that he's really loyal. Whatever you add, he's going to take a look at it, and he's going to buy. So that's,
Mm.
for me, repeated customer rate. That's another metric that I'm really keeping my eye on.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely, and that's kind of it's a really important point. So when I was this is just it's quite nostalgic for me, because this is taking me back to over 10 years ago, when I kind of I was in e-commerce, and I was growing an e-com company and like putting stuff out on eBay, selling toys, like buying and selling, and then I built a store, a Shopify store, and I added Facebook ads. And this is when Facebook ads were really new as well, and I was all about that, trying to make the margin on the front end, and I wasn't thinking about like the lifetime value of customers. And it took me so long, and I reflect back now and think, man, and it's changed. People are so much more educated now than they were back then on this kind of thing, because you can kind of go and ask ChatGPT these kind of questions, and they give you some pretty intelligent insights when it comes to, just customer acquisition cost versus lifetime value. And the lifetime value, if you can resell to the customers and increase that, then that's the back end of your business, which can be really profitable. But yeah, I didn't know any of that back then. I was just trying to make margin on the front end and trying to get as much of that as possible, not really doing that much, back end cross-selling, upselling, to increase the lifetime value. Whereas, and totally different market. So for me, repeat buyers of toys, like this, it's small, small stuff so you can sell loads of that. So it's probably very different to, you've only got a small amount of products to upsell, cross-sell to right now. But it's just as you build that build the back end out, build the product suite out, that's probably going to become more and more important to you, I guess.
Yeah. And it's also like with e-commerce, everything is so fast and you really only have a couple of seconds for everything, right? So I used to be a banker. I'm selling stuff all my life. I think that's what I'm gonna be when I'm be doing when I'm like 85 years old as well. I might sell something to you. You should buy a sweater for me. I think, yeah, let's do that. So it was really frustrating for me at the beginning to have a store online. And I'm like, how am I going to like persuade the customer to, I know I can do it face to face, but like now I don't have the impact. So it was really difficult. And so, yeah, it's just a couple of seconds. And for us with fashion, you have the product photos, right? The customer is looking at the product on your website. And it really depends on the quality of the photos in order for the customer to make the decision to buy, right? And it could be like that she doesn't see the whole product, or maybe it's wrinkled, or maybe it's not the shade of color that she likes. Maybe the model is not looking happy. There's millions of reasons why not to buy the product. So you have to be thinking about all these little things, photos, description, of course, like how difficult it is to get to the product, how difficult it is to check out. So there's like a million things that you have to think about. And there's every single part can create the no situation when the customer doesn't buy. So yeah, you have to, and with the ChatGPT, I think, you have so many, like we're living in a completely different informational world than before. But still, I think it's really important that you know how to ask these questions. So now it's easy for you to ask about LVT or AOV or whatever. But you have to know what to ask, because otherwise you're going to have like a superficial communication with ChatGPT about like that it's fashion is a good business. But the right answers you only get when you have like a real experience, I think.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. You're absolutely right. And you have to know, the right questions, or be really good at asking, great questions. And then you also have to know what good looks like on the output. Like you kind of have to gauge, you have to have some experience and expertise, because otherwise you can just face hallucinations, is what they call it, in AI, where ChatGPT will just kind of tell you what you want to know, and you don't know if it's right or wrong. So you do have to,
Yeah, I love it when sometimes it's like he answers like complete nonsense and you're like, isn't it like, and he's like, oh yeah, sorry. It's completely opposite. I just, I'm like, shoot, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So there's everything in the middle, can be sped up, like the ideation and creativity is amazing with AI. It really is. And I'm all in with building AI into my business to speed up processes and rapidly iterate and ideate and build micro tools and that sort of thing to really help with the systems and acceleration of growth. But you absolutely do need to know what the right questions to ask. You need to understand big picture, and you need to have that output expertise to know that it is right, what the direction that you're going, for sure.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest challenges that you've got right now, or the biggest challenge when it comes to growth?
I think it might be AI, which is it's helping us a lot. But I think we're in the stage where everything is growing so fast and changing, and it's like you're like 85% there. It's not like 100%. So for instance, what we're doing and what really helped us when I mentioned the product pictures, we sped up the process of being able to list our products online. Because in fashion, it's really long. So you have to design the product, you have to make a prototype, you have to produce it, which is like 4 to 6 weeks. You have to ship it here. You have to, before that, we had to do a photo shoot. So you have to have all this team, model, makeup artist, photographer. Then he's going to be editing the pictures. And only then you can put it online. So it was like, it's really slow and you have to wait for many people. And the worst thing is that you're not selling, right? That's the worst thing. You have all your money in the product, so you don't have the money, and you don't have the product to sell. So this really always like drove me crazy. So it's very slow. And the output, so the product pictures, it's like, if it's wrong, it's wrong. You cannot really change it, right? So if the model doesn't look good, or if it's wrinkled, you, of course, Photoshop, okay, partly you can change, something you can change, but you will not change the whole thing. So now we're using AI to produce these pictures, and we are like much quicker. So it's great because we can start once I have the product in warehouse, I am already listing the product online. So I'm like saving like 3 to 4 weeks, which is huge for the sales. And also, like, if the product picture doesn't work, like people are not buying it, you can change it. So I can like put like a Dior looking model there. I can put the model on a desert or on the top of a mountain. I can do whatever. I can change it. Like, so I see it's not working and I can do quick changes. But it's like the solution, we can do it like, it's like 89% accurate. And then there are like those frustrations, like when you're working with the AI tools that help you create the pictures, sometimes you just get to the point, like with ChatGPT, that you're having this prompt and it's just not doing it. So we all spend a lot of time with these like frustrating parts. So I wish we could go even faster. So this is the way I know all the ideas and I know how the process could be set up. And it just frustrates me that we're not like 100% there.
Yeah. Do you mean in AI specifically, or do you mean just, in terms of business and growth? Like when you say you've got all the ideas and you kind of know the direction that you want to go and you know what you've got to execute, but you just want to get there faster? Are you talking about as a whole or AI specifically?
I was kind of talking both, I think, because I'm never satisfied with where I am at the moment. So of course I want to be there faster. But with the growth, I think that's a topic important for both you and I. It's just you have to try so many different ways in order to find out that it doesn't work, and you have to try another one. So, for instance, with the third parties, like I mentioned, this platform Wolf and Badger, the sales are going up, so that's good. So I know that it's gonna work in the future, but it's too slow for me. And of course, it's gonna be like, because they tell you, oh, now you have the exposition to like millions of people. So you're like, oh, great. So millions of people will see my product. But then you realize, oh, but there are other products there on the website. I'm one of like 755 sweaters, right? So then you realize you have another problem. So it's not, that fast as you thought. So my current vision is that I need to add, like, I started with Cashmere and I added different other fibers. So now I need to add other products. So for instance, we have cashmere care for like laundering. If you need to wash your cashmere and you have to have a special soap and shampoo. So we are selling those. These are like third-party products and it goes pretty well. So now I'm thinking, okay, we need to add other products, which will eventually lower my overall margin, but it will help me grow in like, it makes sense to have products which are somehow connected with the main product. And yeah, we will get some more additional money and without the headache of the production.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's what works well for you then when it comes to growth, marketing? What are the best channels and best things that you do?
I was really surprised with marketing. I think we were trying everything. So we were trying the main part of marketing are PPC campaigns. So this is what works best for us. And I can see that really you have to invest your money and energy and time in order to start the engine, and then it starts like rolling up and like growing. So that works pretty well. I'm kind of happy about that. Um, then we started with like influencers. That's a big thing, right? Like people promoting your products. Big learning for me that most of the big guys here, they did not work at all. It was like a waste of money and product. But like micro influencers, they work it worked pretty well.
Okay.
So that's the line where we're going because they really have loyal followers.
Yeah.
And whatever they say, the followers will check it out and try. So even it's usually like people with like 10,000, 15,000 followers, and that's for us. That's the right base. So this works for us. With PR, I also tried so many things, magazines and printed online, and most of the stuff didn't work for us. So only, I think there are like Forbes works for us, and then like a big search engine in the Czech Republic. That's a unique way that we have Google, and then we have a local search engine, and that one works. So really, I think there's like no rule for what works. We had to find our way, and I had to spend a lot of money. But one thing that I also learned was that I really need to turn people down and like really be selective about what we do, because there's so much energy going into so many things that you want to try. But now I really think twice before trying that, because I know that maybe it's better to just increase the budget for the PPC campaigns and not to like build an entire new empire, just by the way.
Yeah. Just kind of like spreading yourself too thin because like narrowing down, like being super focused on one thing. If you put so much focus into that, you're getting X amount of return or more return, and then But then that's probably a nuanced balance as well, because you also don't want to have all your eggs in one basket. That might be a bit volatile. So it's interesting. What's the goal over the next 12 months or so? What's the goal for growth?
Okay, so we want to double our revenues. That's the goal. We want to slightly increase the margin. So I always have a goal to increase the margin by 10%. It's interesting that sometimes it's just enough to say that and to like put it into your head, and then it happens. So I always do that, even though it might seem that the margin is good. I always do like at least 10% up. And I also want to increase the customer base. I think we have like 30%. So those are the like hardcore numbers and aims that we have. And the soft things, or maybe like the fun part, I want to increase the product base. So now we have about, I think like 700 products already. So I would like to have 1,000 plus. So, and the question is whether it's going to be our own products or whether it's going to be third-party products, but I want to expand the product offer as well.
Yeah. What excites you most about, those goals or the industry as a whole, where you're heading? What's the most exciting thing to you right now?
Well, the most exciting thing is that I can produce things that I can wear. So that's really exciting. That's why I do it.
I bet your wardrobe looks amazing.
Oh, yeah, it does. It's sometimes I'm like, yeah, I have to wear cashmere. That's my job, so sometimes I even sleep in cashmere. You have to try that. Like some of the customers.
You're in Czech, so that makes more sense. Like I'm out in Spain, man. I'm not sure about that.
But that's the mind barrier. Cashmere is not only for like really cold weather, but when you have like a thin layer, and we have this special fiber, which is cashmere and silk combined, then it has like great characteristics, and it's awesome even for sleeping in Spain. So you're not gonna get rid of this option that you need to buy a sweater from me.
I love what you did there. You clearly are great at sales. You totally took that limiting belief and flipped it around. That was great. I'm interested now.
Oh yeah. No, because it's true. And another thing is that like natural fibers, that's why I'm repeating it, and that's why we're concentrating on it. It is completely different qualities from synthetic fiber. So we're used to all these garments in which we're kind of like sweating a little bit, but if we think it's normal, it doesn't happen in natural fibers. So the idea of cashmere and sleeping in cashmere, and you will not sweat in cashmere, and it will be so comfortable. And there was this client of mine, and she's like, I need to tell you a secret. I fell asleep in your sweater. And I'm like, yeah, it's okay. I'm like sleeping in my sweater. It's like the whole winter. So that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So, really interesting.
So just to answer your question, it really comes down to like very simple thing that I just want to myself. I want to feel good. I want to wear nice things, and I want to feel comfortable. And cashmere is a very luxurious fiber, so it gives you this like status thing, which I kind of have in myself. So yeah, ultimately, I want to wear this. I want to be around this, and I want other people to have the same feeling that I have, because like with women, women are difficult, right? So we want to make her happy, and I can do that with my products. Isn't that awesome? So if you want to make your woman happy, I can help you with that.
That's amazing. I definitely want that.
See? That's why we did this podcast, because
No, I love that. I love that. You're obviously, you are super passionate about, your products, like the products that you create, the story behind it, the reasoning behind it. And then that transfers across, like you're the founder, and it's really important to have that, remain close to the product and be passionate about it, because it shines through. It will shine through in everything that you do, I'm sure, like everything, all the marketing, all the sales, and just everything that you're putting out there, including this podcast. It just shines through for sure.
Oh, thank you. It's really, I mean, with entrepreneurs, we always think that we're not good enough. So thank you for this moment. Now I think I am good enough for a couple of minutes. I'll have this feeling.
What's one piece of advice that you could give to founders, like in your position? Like, so think back, when you were in those moments of self-doubt kicking in, like you went out on your own, you had this like gut intuition, but things weren't working out. Like what's one piece of advice that you can maybe offer to people in that situation?
Can I give 3 pieces of advice?
Okay, of course.
Okay. Because okay, because I was actually thinking about this question, because you asked me this before, so I was really giving it a thought. And so I would say, first thing, just do it. Because if you want to start your own business, many people just don't even start. So it's very easy. You just have to start doing it. And this is something that I repeat to myself even in the times of difficulties when I'm like stuck, the revenues are low. So instead of like watching the dashboard on Shopify, which makes me frustrated, I shut it down and I start doing something, anything, because that will get my mind off the frustration. And eventually, even the dashboard on Shopify will become better. So you just need to start doing anything, right? So that's the first piece of advice. Second one is don't quit. That's another very common thing, that people that start something after the first couple of difficulties, they're like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna not do it. So don't quit. And that's the ultimate way to success. And the third piece of advice is, I think Jeff Bezos said that, so it's not my thought. But he says, every day is a day one. So that's really important for me as well. Whatever happened yesterday, whatever mistakes I made, whatever problems I had yesterday, this is a new day and I can start all over. And it's like so much freedom in your head, because every day you can start anew and build whatever dream that you have.
Yeah. Solid advice, and I really like the last one, and it's funny you actually mentioned that, because I think about that too. I didn't realize it was Jeff Bezos that says that, but a mentor of mine literally said the same thing. No, I'm sure, but yeah, a mentor of mine literally said the same thing, and it really does change your mindset. That is, you can let go, like the past doesn't even exist anymore. It only exists to literally learn from the mistakes that you made or whatever happened. But yeah, all that exists right now is today. So what are you going to do today and moving forward? So yeah, absolutely. Love it. Really appreciate your insights, Zuzana. This is a really fun and great conversation. Like, you shared loads of good stuff, like really good wisdom and all from experience. So yeah, I love it. Where can people find out more about you online?
Well, the best thing for them to know more about me is to buy a sweater, and that they can do on. I'm allowed to say that, right?
You can say whatever you want.
Okay. So it's www.just.love. So there's like no no ending. Love is the domain. If they want to talk to me, they can reach me on LinkedIn. And if they want to watch nice pictures, we're also on Instagram. We have Just Love label profile.
Amazing.
So end of commercial.
Yeah. Amazing. And I'll put the links in the description below, as well as
Cool.
as well as my affiliate discount for promoting you. So yeah, we'll go ahead and do that.
Good. Okay. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, amazing, Zuzana. Again, like thanks so much for coming on. This is great. I really appreciate your insights. Yeah, and I'll be watching your growth and the growth of Just Love with great interest.
Thank you so much, James. It was a pleasure being here, and thank you for this opportunity.
Amazing. Thanks so much.